その間、鍵穴に目を近づけるのはいけないことでしょうか。Nice!
G'day, how are we all? There's not much that I'm going to be going over with this video. I've just got a couple of things I wanted to bring up that I think is more than reasonable. If you've got something to say to counter, please feel free to either reach out to me on Twitter, which is where I'm most active, or leave a comment on the video and we can discuss it there. First up, while I don't see any issue with an easy mode being an option in games, I don't agree with how this article headline was worded. The option would be nice for those who might want to need it, but this is rather demanding, and that's a little much. So my stance on an easy mode is that people shouldn't be overreacting and losing their marbles over people who aren't as good at video games as they are. I see people on Twitter arguing that the point of these types of difficult games is the satisfaction you get from overcoming a boss or a difficult section, and that is true for the most part. But you can still have that if the option of an easy mode existed. I'm currently tracking along with a nightmare pistol only playthrough of Doom just for my own personal achievement. The feeling of relief and satisfaction I get when I complete each level isn't any less just because somewhere out in the world a gamer played the game on easy. Easy is not my cup of tea, so I'll just ignore it and not play that difficulty. Same as people who might complete GTA games with infinite health and ammo. It's their choice. My experience in those games wasn't any less fun because someone might have chosen to utilize those options available to them. Personally, I don't like using cheats in GTA unless I'm doing rampages out in the open world. But again, my experience through the story wasn't any different just because somebody might have completed the entire game without ever actually dying or having any difficulty. Some games don't necessarily have levels of difficulty and just have the one experience, the Souls games being the most prominent example of that. Adding some sort of easy mode would definitely throw out the balance of the game, which is to be expected. But again, someone wanting this unbalanced mode where they're more than likely going to never die won't ruin your fun with the regular version of the game. Yes, the devs have an intended way that the game should be experienced in their eyes and by their design, but that just means anyone opting for the easy mode won't be getting the full experience necessarily. And that's fine. No one should be angry that an individual is enjoying the same hobby as you, but in a different manner. So still sticking with the Soulsborne series, let's look at the story for those games, specifically Dark Souls 1. The point of the story is to be rather vague and leave environmental clues that you need to actually pay attention to in order to understand and follow the events that unfolded prior to your character arriving in the world. You also need to read the description of items that you pick up as they fill in some of the gaps too. I bring up Dark Souls 1 specifically because I can be an example here. I picked up essentially zero story during my first 2 or 3 playthroughs of Dark Souls 1 and didn't even know how to complete the NPC side quests. So my knowledge of the story came from watching VaatiVidya's videos on the lore of the game. I didn't experience the storytelling firsthand myself. Instead, I looked up the stories and just watched videos of them. I was after an engaging experience through gameplay, and at the time I cared little about trying to find any story in the game itself. In this regard, some people might say I didn't get the satisfaction of piecing story elements together myself, and maybe I lost that sense of discovery. But that brings me back to my previous point of so what? For those who tirelessly searched for answers and felt complete when you found them, does me just looking up the lore take that away from you? That aspect of the game is something I wasn't interested in delving into while playing. The same could be said of an easy mode if it were to be ever implemented in From Software's games. One other thing I want to cover before ending the video is the argument that not all games are for everyone. This is mostly true. I used to hate any form of turn-based games that weren't Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh on the PS2. Now, back in the day, if I was to be going around and demanding that these games be transformed into real-time action, that would definitely be beyond unreasonable. But asking for your character to take 10 hits to die instead of 2, surely that's not too hard to do. Difficult games might not be for everyone, But that doesn't mean there aren't many other aspects of those difficult games that people enjoy and would like to experience themselves without struggling to progress. They're not asking for a complete overhaul of a game or its engine so it can be transformed into an entirely new genre or anything like that. Just some more HP so they can overcome the only part of the game that stops them from enjoying it completely. So the TLDR of my video is, unless the addition of something into a game is going to take away the experience of others, the option of an easy mode has no effect on you. That's pretty much all I wanted to say on the matter for now, as some people are really starting to show signs of elitism and even gatekeeping, which is just a cancer for the gaming community. Some people play certain games differently than you. Some people get enjoyment where you see none to be had. Just think about that before you tell someone how they supposedly should be playing a game when all they're asking for is an easier option that doesn't even affect you in the slightest. That's it for me. Until the next video, have a good one.
We're not gonna live in there. Tell your skin exposed and fresh, holding on to every breath. We are just waiting, wasting